Mostyn Charity helped you?
It's helped me in loads of different ways. The main thing it's kind of done is kind of shown me that my cancer doesn't define me, and it's how I kind of react to my cancer that does. It's kind of reminding me that I'm still a young person despite my illness, and it does this in lots of ways. So they provide kind of specialist units where I get to spend time with other teenagers and young adults who have cancer, so that makes it feel like I'm not the only one in this situation, and we can kind of talk and share our common experience. As well, it runs work experience programs, so after, for example, I've gone through treatment and suffered from the afflictions of cancer, it kind of helps teenagers and myself get back in to society and contributing positively. It also runs educational programs. This hasn't helped me personally, but it's kind of offered to schools, and what it does, it tells children and teenagers the symptoms of cancer and things like that, so they know what to look out for if they ever get these symptoms. As well, as I say, they run social events, so every kind of month I have a free meal out on the teenage cancer. They pay for it, and I meet up with all my friends from the hospital, and we just generally have a good time and say share our common experience, because it's hard at times feeling like you're the only one who gets diagnosed with cancer at this age, but knowing that there's others out there is really reassuring. And then one thing that really helped me personally was there's an event that Teenage Cancer Trust fund. It's called Find Your Sense of Tumour, which is a bit of a risky name, but it's a really fun event. Basically, it's at Centre Parks for the weekend, and around 300 young people from around the country who've been diagnosed with cancer just meet up and have a huge party, basically. There's motivational speakers on throughout the day and stuff like that, but it's a really life-changing experience. Two of the things that I saw really stuck out. It was at the disco, the song by Willow Smith, I Whip My Hair Back and Forth. Well, kind of chemotherapy, a treatment for cancer, can make you lose your hair. So if you play this song to a person with cancer, I whip my hair back and forth, you'd think it might be quite offensive. However, they played this song, someone requested it, and you just had all these people lined up, all with cancer, at a disco, just pretending to whip their hair back and forth with a bald hair or with a wig. And that to me was kind of, it showed me that my cancer didn't need to define me, and it really was like a life-changing experience. Then the other thing I saw was, again, at the disco, this guy started messing with his leg. Everyone was just like, looking at him, what are you doing? Next thing you know, he pulls off this false leg, this prosthetic, just starts waving about in the air, jumping about, hopping about. And again, it's just little things like that that make you go, you know what, I've got cancer, so what? Cancer doesn't have me.
I know this is a hard subject to grasp, but what's been the highlight of your life? Like the highlights of your life?
Probably all the kind of help and support I've got from kind of people I don't know, because I say I've recently launched my Facebook page called Stephen's Story, and then it's going out to 50,000 people at the moment, and just getting people who I've never met before just kind of come up to me and just start kind of giving me kind words and messages and support and donations, and it's really humbling. So that to me is the highlight, and that's what kind of keeps me going and keeps me happy as well. So.
Has it been like harder to get a job because of your cancer?
Well, I was still at school when I was diagnosed, so it has been harder to kind of continue with school. I'm pretty keen and quite like my kind of lessons and subjects. I've always tried my best, but I know other people who have suffered from cancer aren't as keen. But the Teenage Cancer Trust, they also have a specialist ward, so that means when the kind of hospital employs a teacher to try and encourage teenagers to still keep up with studies, they can do that and kind of target their resources more effectively. In terms of getting work, I'm actually a part-time drum teacher, so I've played drums for a while, so it was kind of quite easy for me because I'm kind of self-employed. But I can imagine obviously having something like cancer, and if you're employed by someone else, they might not be as understanding.
Thank you. How much money would you estimate you would make, like, say, maybe a year and a half, like, to 2 years?
Yeah. Well, I say I raised around £20,000 in 2 months, so if we times that by 6, we'll go £120,000 about, if it carries on at this way. And I'm going to work hard to make sure I'll try and keep it up, but it's, yeah, we'll just see how it goes, but it's growing exponentially at the moment, and it's, yeah, it looks like it could be a big total.
That's fantastic.
I know this is a sensitive subject, but can you tell us about your chemotherapy?
Yeah, so I've had 2 lots of chemotherapy. There was, the first lot was, they described as neoadjuvant chemotherapy, so I had surgery first to remove the tumour, but to wipe out all the kind of cells on a microscopic level to see if there's anything left up. I had all this chemotherapy, so that's kind of quite hard at first, because you've had kind of a tumour potentially took out, and they're giving you all this stuff that's going to make you feel sick and tired, just as a kind of backup. But yeah, the chemotherapy itself, it kind of works in cycles. So mine worked on a 2-weekly cycle. So I had 1 drug for a couple of hours, and then I was on another drug for 48 hours. So that took about 2 days, 2-3 days every 2 weeks, and it was a fortnightly cycle. So once I had the 3 days, then I had enough days off and then to recover. In terms of the actual symptoms of the chemotherapy, it made me sick a lot. So nauseous, it made me really, really tired. I was sleeping just 16 hours a day at some point, just to kind of like get through the day. As well, it kind of made my hands really sore. Literally peeled the skin off my hands and feet, which was a bit painful at times. And then one of the final symptoms, one of the more significant ones, was I had a tingly feeling. It's called neuropathy. So whenever I had any kind of cold, my hands and feet went tingly, or whenever like I drank a cold drink, back of my throat went tingly. And generally, yeah, chemotherapy is not nice stuff. It has all sorts of symptoms, but it's a treatment, and people want to get better, and they endure it. So yeah, people kind of like say about like the kind of like fight against cancer, and to me it is the drugs and chemotherapy that fight the cancer. It's not the person who fights it, they're just there, they're just going to endure it. And then the second lot I had, that was for 3 months, that was a 3-week cycle. And again, it was a couple of days hospital, but then I had tablets, 2 weeks worth of tablets, and then 1 week off. And again, I had similar symptoms. And again, it's not nice stuff, but you have your low points and your good points, and you kind of just get through it at the end.
Thank you. What emotions were you experiencing when you heard your diagnosis? Your first diagnosis?
Yeah, so when I was first diagnosed, I was 15 years old. So obviously there's a bit of disbelief as well. Also because my type of cancer is bowel cancer. So that's kind of traditionally a really old person's cancer. All cancers are kind of associated with old people normally, but particularly something like bowel cancer. So obviously there was a bit of disbelief. But I was actually diagnosed post-operatively. So I had my surgery, and then they looked at what they took out underneath a microscope, and then they confirmed it was cancerous. So it was kind of, you've got cancer, but we think we've took it all out. So that kind of helped it for me, helped me get through it.
Thank you. What options were you offered, like when the cancer was diagnosed?
One of the first things I was offered was where I was going to be treated. It was kind of put forward by, well, I was referred to a specialist hospital because I was treated at Stafford first. Then I was referred to the Birmingham Children's Hospital, but because I had bowel cancer, they also got someone from the Birmingham Queen Elizabeth Hospital to kind of consult as well. So I had a consultation with both of them. And then I was given the option of where I wanted to be treated. There was the Birmingham Children's Hospital, who had a new teenage cancer trust unit all kitted out with everything you need, and the Queen Elizabeth Hospital that just had a normal young person's unit. Straight away I went for the Birmingham Children's Hospital because the teenage cancer trust ward looked really impressive, and I'm glad I chose it because it did help things through my treatment.
Well, thank you for your time. That's all our questions.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.